everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Love All podcast, brought to you by our friends at Raya Eyewear. Social Sophies is here. Sophie, we had an amazing day in the studio yesterday. We got to go to New York City and talk to no one other than the very funny former tennis player, Hannah Berner. Sophie, how excited were you when you found out that we were going to have the chance to talk to Hannah on the podcast?
I was so pumped. I've been a fan of Hannah for years. And, I think Andy talks about it all the time. Never meet your heroes. She's one of those people that you meet and she's exactly the same as you would think she would be. Such good energy from the second she walked into the studio. And it was just really cool to get her perspective on tennis, which a lot of people probably haven't heard her talk about before. So it was great.
Yeah, that's what I love too. Like she signed I bought the book. She signed it.
Tell us what she said, Kim.
This will be it just says, "Hi Kim," a heart and a tennis ball. And then she signed it, and I'm leaving with my mother-in-law tomorrow. I'm going on a little retreat. She got diagnosed with Alzheimer's a little over a year ago, I think now. And so I'm going to take her a little bit on a retreat, and I'll have the chance to read it while I'm there.
To giggle. So, that's great.
Yeah, learn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she was great. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about when she first started playing tennis, and what was interesting is like the difference in her mindset and your mindset as players, and how she made that transition to comedy.
Yeah, that's what I always find very interesting with the people that I talk to or who are connected to tennis. Like they don't always have to be Grand Slam champions or pro tennis players, right? Like she had a good career in college and dreamt of being, a professional tennis player. But then at some point, like those dreams, get shattered. And how do you move on from there? And how do you take those kind of losses or failures, right? Because they do make you feel bad. How do you take those with you to the next phases in your life or your new careers? And it was really interesting from her side to hear, how well she's doing now and how she uses a lot of those like wins and losses that you learn from tennis on and off the court, how she takes that with her with, decisions that she makes now on stage or in business. And so it was really, really interesting. And she's killing it. And I can't wait to see all the other things that she's going to have come onto her path in these, in the upcoming years. All right, guys, after the break, Hannah Berner will be joining us on the Love All podcast, brought to you by our friends at Raya Eyewear. Enjoy. This episode of Love All is made possible by our friends at Raya Eyewear, the only performance eyewear built specifically for racket sports. I've been wearing these sunglasses for about a year now, and they're perfect on and off the court. But the one thing that I love the most about them is that I can finally serve into the sun without squinting. Scan the QR code on screen or visit rayaeyewear.com/Kim and get your pair today. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of our Love All podcast, brought to you by Raya Eyewear. I'm very excited about this podcast, Sophie. I know you are as well. And excited to welcome my new old friend, it feels like, Hannah Berner.
Well, I've known you for much longer than you've known me in a creepy way. Wait, I'm so honored to be here.
Oh, thanks.
This is so exciting.
I'm very excited to have you.
And you have your notebook. Look at you all prepared.
Yeah, but listen, it's notes. Like a notebook. It has like my daughter's scribbling stuff, like basketball stuff in
Grocery
here.
list.
You can tell a lot about a person by what's in there.
Yeah.
We were joking earlier about how our dads are funny and they poke fun at us. My mom would have a grocery list in the morning and my dad would always add a backhand to it. It was just a little tennis banter.
Keep tennis on your mind.
A lot of dad tennis jokes going on. Yeah. Or like when my grandpa would double fault, he'd be like, "Who put that net there?" And like that was our humor in the house.
But I was like, I think why I felt like, how I noticed you, because people are talking to me about like summer house and all this stuff like you did, and like my friends are like in New Jersey, and I didn't know that part about you. Like I just noticed you by scrolling on Instagram and a funny video.
Tell her which
what
video.
It's called? Like is it a reel or
a reel?
A reel. Like I was scrolling, and like you were in this beautiful like copper
insane.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my
I
gosh.
felt like a Power Ranger.
Yeah, no, the color was crazy good.
Well, I was like, I need to be able to do the worm and I need to move and like I want to feel like an athlete on stage.
That you did a worm in that is incredible.
Yeah.
By the way. But
Honestly, you could do the worm in anything if you
if you don't care.
It's really a mindset.
Anything flopping out or
It's true. It's all mental.
Yeah, but that's basically how I like noticed you, and I was like, oh, and she plays tennis. Like, let me reach out to her. I called my best friend in Belgium who's gay, and I'm like, listen, you're not going to be able to relate to this, like what she just said on stage, but like she's hilarious.
It's very inappropriate. But Kim, yeah, you followed me, and I think I immediately like tossed my phone. I was like, Kim Clijsters followed me. And I think my husband was like, message her. And I was like, is that weird? She's like, she followed you. You can message her.
Yeah. But I felt weird, like reaching out to you. I was like, what is she gonna think? Like, who's this weirdo? Like,
well, I joked, this is my career, but I was like, Kim, I love tennis. Kim, thank you for following me. I love tennis. I played my whole life and I love you.
In a voice note. In a voice note.
And then she was so nice and was like, we should hit sometime. And I remember thinking like, what a polite lady.
Wow, she's
like,
really extending an olive branch.
She did not have to say that.
Yeah.
And then we would comment some Insta stories. Look at us talking about our long friendship. And she would be like, do you want to hit this week? And I'm like, wow, she's committing to the bit. Mm-hmm. Like she's...
yeah.
And then it got to the point, and I was traveling a lot, but then I was like, I think Kim actually wants to hit with me. And I think I should like throw a date. And then we did it. And now... We're related, basically. We're sisters.
We're gonna do it.
That's
Keep
what
doing
She's
it,
my
right?
Belgium sister. I would love to.
Yeah,
I've actually
hitting partners.
She's
You guys are
motivated me to
officially
get my
hitting
cardio
partners.
in shape.
Yeah, how was that first hit? Tell me about the first hit.
We didn't hit much.
It's so funny. So I get in and I'm, like you're hyped up. And I'm also like, I'm a very visual person. Like I watch tennis players and like I could just watch their stroke and I could tell you who it is. Like I know every racket they play with. Like I weirdly remember that, but I can't remember like what I had for breakfast this morning. And so hitting with Kim, it felt like I was in a video game because I'm like, I know her forehand, I know her backhand.
Like Kim's Wii tennis player.
And this is being so dramatic, but it's like, it's like a painter and you're like painting with them. Like she's a Michelangelo of the sport and I'm receiving a forehand from her. I'm being so embarrassing right now, but it was as someone who grew up watching Kim and being inspired by Kim, playing tennis with her. I tried to explain to my husband, I'm like, Tiger Woods is playing golf with you. Like that is what we're dealing with. Yeah. But I get all hyped up and, my heart's racing and I'm like, okay, you're okay. You're doing it. And then like 5 minutes in, I was like, I can't breathe. But I can't say that. So then I was like, Kim, I have some questions. I didn't know if you were like picking up the balls at the net or if you like were on your way over to the bench. Like she was like, we've been hitting for 3 minutes. And I was like, I have to tie my shoe. My shoe keeps untying.
You're untying it and retying it.
And you were like, maybe I should try this other racket.
I think I need to change my entire outfit. I picked the wrong outfit. No, but then she was asking me questions on the bench, but I had to like catch my breath. And I was like, but no, I still love to play so much. But it's funny with my career now, my cardio is so bad. But then I got like a second wind.
Yeah, you got.
But it was like a little too late.
Very quickly. Yeah.
It was a little too late. And then we left and I was walking home and I was like, oh my God, I made Kim come from New Jersey and we played for 16 minutes. Oh my God.
No, it was fun.
And then she texted me and she was like, I had fun. And I was like, okay, I'll move on. But now I'm working on my cardio, Kim.
Good. But you've been hitting more, right? Like I
have.
Yeah.
Well, the summer is where I shine. The summer is when actually I don't do as many stand-up shows. Okay. And I try to commit to my fitness. And by fitness, I mean Pilates twice a week and some hits.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Well, how long did you not hit prior to when we hit? Like,
I hadn't hit in a while, but it's so funny. I like don't lose. I lose a little, like I'll lose a backhand slice feel, but like, and yeah, my footwork is really bad, but in my head, I feel good. And like, I also forget that I have this other skill. I've like put it behind me. So then when I step on the court, I'm like, wait, this is so cool that I have this skill that I can just enjoy and be good at.
And have you always like enjoyed it, or did you go through a stage where you were like, ugh, I hate tennis? Or
So I feel like it was kind of cool when the girls were like, I hate this. Like, I hate this. I was that nerd that was like, I love it. Like, I love the sport and I want to be here and I love it. But I was definitely like put so much pressure on myself. Like I was that girl who like the coach didn't have to be hard on. I was like, I'm hard on myself, don't worry. I think I was really hyper as a kid, and my parents put me in a lot of sports and I was good at a lot of sports, but for some reason I liked being alone and like being the one responsible.
so how did that start though? Like, were your parents tennis fans? Were like, or how did you start playing?
I like to call them like weekend warriors. Like, my grandpa's a basketball coach from Brooklyn. Like, he's like one of those guys you see in a movie who like picks a kid off the street and is like, you're going to college and you're tall and I'm going to teach you how to rebound. And so I grew up in just like a sports family and love basketball. Like, my dad would even like quote basketball movies all the time, and we'd listen to the Space Jam soundtrack and I would be like doing abs. But early on, I was always creative and goofy and funny, but I was weirdly athletic. Like, I was very fast and could throw a ball really far. And I wanted my dad to love me. So I was like, how high do you want me to jump? But that was how we connected.
Yeah.
And I felt like when I was like 8 or 9, I started like winning tournaments. And what a high.
Here in the city?
In the city. So yeah, I was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So I started with, it's different in America, but like level 3s, level 2s, level 1s. But what a drug. And I remember like walking off the court and like winning the tournament, and my dad just like jumping around the parking lot like I just won Wimbledon. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is who I am. Like, I'm a tennis player.
Yeah.
And it's funny how, and that was my life, but around 14 years old I was like top 15 in the nation, and in New York City the coaches are like, you can't compete with like, if you want to go pro you have to go to Florida, like you're not going to be hitting as many balls as those girls, you got to go. So I went to Florida, did like 2 years online schooling.
Oh yeah, you did all that.
Fully committed, and definitely had like too much pressure on myself. I changed my forehand grip. I was like...
On your own, or you had people tell you?
I had
like
people tell me, but it was kind of like change your grip and then figure it out kind of thing. So that's why like I've always had like forehand slicing things happen. I've had a lot of like mental stuff with tennis. But that's what's the beauty. That's I was about to say. I go, that's what tennis is.
Yeah.
It's about battling your demons, being aware of their demons. But I almost quit at like 16 because I was like, I felt just like kind of empty after all the academy stuff. Moved back to New York City, go to Beacon on the Upper West Side, it's a public school, and they don't have a women's team. And if you don't have a women's team, the public school athletic league legally with Title IX says you have to let her audition. Oh, look at me, I'm such an actor now. You have to try out for the men's team.
Yeah.
And I made the men's team because it's high school, but like there were some good players on it, and we ended up like winning the public school athletic league. I was like playing 3 singles on it, and like kind of fell in love with it again. And then went to University of Wisconsin and ended up playing 1 there and like having like a solid college career.
Captain,
El Capitano. I mean, I had to earn it. I remember, but yeah, college tennis now is way more popular, where back then it was kind of like, okay, you're not going to go pro, but like, let's see how good we can do. And if you're like top 5 in the nation, try to go pro after.
And your mind were you like, I'm going pro. Like,
I'm going pro.
I'm
going
there.
pro. I feel like with tennis, it's one of these things that I worked. People always say now in comedy, like we've never seen someone work as hard. And I'm like, you should see like any other tennis player. This is just like how we are. But with tennis, I put all the work in, but there's still like, there was definitely mental things that I wasn't able to kind of like have that belief in myself that I think the top players did. And like I was a, top 50 college player, but like you had to be top 5 to make it there. And it's really all mental, and it's fascinating. And then it took me consciously being like, I mean, if we're getting deep, Kim is my therapist right now. I don't think I really loved competing at the end of the day. And I didn't realize that, but I loved practice.
See, I was the opposite.
And that's what all the greatest players was. I was literally talking to Coco Vandeweghe, name drop. And she was like, you couldn't get me on the practice court. I just wanted to like beat people's asses all the time. And I was like, no, I wanted to be like drilling and showing off. And the second it was match day, it felt like judgment day for me. But you had like the flip. Which is,
I like to like practice and train hard too, but like I always felt like I could like step up a little bit more. And
yeah. See, I always was like, oh, now I'm going to be exposed. Like this is game time. This is when they're going to see who I really am. It's almost like an imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Even when you were crushing it, you still had that sort of like imposter syndrome.
I was always like winning a lot. So I was always like ranked high.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was always protecting. I was always like, I got to win.
Yeah.
But after doing a lot of therapy, like a lot of it was ego that I've now really tried in my stand-up career to be completely different, where it's like, it's about the process. It's not about putting pressure on the results, that kind of thing. And I actually like hate practicing comedy. I'm like, just put me in the biggest venue and let me go. So when I would walk on the court to play a match, I would always, all the voices would come and be like, you can't, and I felt almost shame because like no one knew that I was going through it. And then my mom would see me play and she's like, are you good? Because you were like paralyzed out there. But then my first ever stand-up set, I was walking on stage. I remember thinking like, oh no, like I'm gonna like get in my head about this. And I got on stage and I was like alive. Like I felt like I was talking to my friends at brunch. And then I walked off the stage and I was like, I think I found my new tennis. And I got this like hunger again. And then within like a very quick time, I got a Netflix special. But it's literally all because of my tennis career that I was able to
I've had that like
it.
when I retired in 2012, and my trainer's wife and a girlfriend of mine, we were going like weekly lunches, and at one point they said like, yeah, but you're lucky you've achieved what you wanted to achieve. And I was 38 or not even 37 at the time, I think, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm still too young to not have another. I still want to set goals. I still want to feel like I can, achieve things. And it doesn't mean because I've had a good tennis career that I'm done with like,
die.
Yeah, you're done. Like that's it. You're done. Like to a lot of people, you do like great job. Like that's it. You're over. But like that's how it goes.
One of my first podcasts I started like in 2017. Was called Burning in Hell, where I talked to people about it was a pun, but I talked to people about their demons, and I was obsessed with like interviewing successful people and being like, are you happy kind of thing. And like it was comedy, but also learning about, because I would see like LeBron James and I'm like, does he have problems? Because he's the best, and all I ever wanted to be was the best. But it's fascinating how success is so your perspective, and then like you're alive, like you have to still challenge yourself. That's who you are. But to anyone listening who's a former tennis player, which I probably a lot of them feel like, I did great at tennis, I'm scared what to do, which is like what you should feel. And I'm basically like, everything you did for tennis just gives you like an advantage, no pun intended, in everything that you're about to do, because you're still Kim.
Yeah.
And you're going to put all of the things that made you good at tennis into something else. And that's why also like I'm so excited for your foray into whatever else you want to do.
Right.
But a lot of it is like figuring that out, because you've been so focused
tennis and then the family, and it's like there's so much.
You weren't sitting around being like, what's another dream I could have? Then you wouldn't have made it.
No,
because you can't be like, what could be fun else to do today? No, I'm playing tennis and I'm going to be great at it. So after I graduated college, I was in that like searching period. I did it's funny. I thought I wanted to interview people because I was doing some sports broadcasting at Wisconsin, which is funny because that's what I do now. But I was like, no, you can't be a
crazy
interview on TV. Let's calm down. So then I was like, let's do cold calling sales. Let's do marketing. And then eventually I saw an old video of me like reporting on YouTube. And I was like, I want to do video. Like I want to be on camera. I just didn't know what capacity. And then I always use this like surfing analogy. Like when you find the right thing, like you get in the right wave, it feels really smooth. And I think that is what happened to me with my comedy career.
How much of that feeling, the struggles that you were having when you were playing tennis, do you feel like was your intuition being like, this is just not where I'm supposed to be?
Oh my God, you're my therapist. I mean, I would like to raise awareness, and like we've seen it with like Arina Sabalenka. We've seen it a lot actually. Yeah. But I really struggled when I was 14. I changed. I had like a Western grip, and it was changed. But I was immediately like, you know, my parents were paying for me to be at this academy, and I felt a lot of money pressure. Like I was this 14-year-old with a new grip, expected to win. Like I was playing tournaments like too quick, like 4 months in. And I just remember I started slicing my forehand, and I'm athletic. And these girls weren't used to seeing that much slicing. So I was winning, but it wasn't
on a bad habit, kind of
on a horrible habit. I like literally would have fights with my coach on the court, and he'd be like, stop slicing. And I'm like, well, I want to win. And it became this kind of like thing. And then so I started just like, but then in practice, my forehand was getting better. But in matches, I just didn't get that.
So the result of like, oh, what if I missed a shot? Or it's like, you go.
I do have to say, looking back, I wish I stopped and worked on just like learning how to hit the heaviest, best ball. But I was so obsessed with winning all the time that like my game, coaches would always compliment me too. They'd be like, look at Hannah, like she knows how to win. But like all the other girls were getting better at like hitting
development.
But I was like, well, I'm beating all them, or I would win ugly. I was Brad Gilbert.
Yeah, that was my first ever book I read in English. Really? Winning ugly. Yeah,
I always had it like by my bedside, and I really won ugly. And I also realized mentally, what makes me good at stand up is I'm very sensitive. Like I'm very aware of. I mean, I don't sound like I know what everyone's feeling. I'm not like I'm an empath, but like I'm worried about what's going on in the room. I know what's going on. I'm thinking about people's feelings. I'm overthinking things, and that makes you a great comedian because I'm like what, like why is he wearing that? Why is she doing this? And I have all these thoughts. Where tennis, you need to be like shh, and I didn't feel that way on the court. I was like, why is that girl watching my match? Is she like, it was constant chatter.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling like my day'd be good, and then I'd have to go on the court, and I'd be like, oh no. Something bad's gonna happen. and then in college, I had a great first year, and I had a coach. After my first year, I stayed to train that summer because like I'm gonna go pro. I'm doing anything I can. And she changed my second serve grip to try to get a bigger kick on the serve. Immediately, I was like, and there's the yips.
There's my career. Oh, no.
So then I had a full like year and a half of second serve yips, underhand serving. But like, again, like I was so stubborn. I was like winning. Not like at the level I needed to, but like I wasn't like quitting or redshirting because I was like, I'm still beating a lot of the girls. But it was chaos.
Playing ugly.
There's a lot of people that ask like, you know, why is tennis such a mental game? And it's those kind of things. They start when you're young, right? Like when you change a grip or you change a position of the the return, and like you have to adjust constantly, and it doesn't work right away. And if you then let the doubt and the negative kind of thoughts take over, it can be very
and
kind of
not to age myself. But I was born in 91, and like we were not. No, but we still, my generation still was not into the mental game the way they are now. I remember someone trying to talk about your breath at one of the Super Nationals. They were like, you got to work on you're getting your heart rate down. And I was like, what is this hoopla? What is this voodoo stuff? I'm trying to hit a forehand.
Yeah.
So I did have a lot of mental stuff with the game. But one thing is I always like pushed through, and I was really proud of myself. Like I never quit. I ended up playing top for my team despite all of it. But then after graduating, I was like, why did you torture yourself? You didn't even go pro. You have nothing to show for it. And then when comedy came, I felt prepared in a way, because I was like, I know how to be great at something. I've done it before. Show me like what I have to do, and I know how to execute something. And now I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to like do it with confidence. I'm going to not be egotistical with it. And I'm not going to be too hard on myself. So I feel like I took the things that I failed at with tennis and like re-coached myself. Because I had some coaches that definitely threw me off. And I was able to like reparenting, if you're familiar, I was able to kind of re-coach. And when I got off stage and something didn't go well, I said, I'm proud of you for going out there. And I hope you had fun with it. And if you don't feel like doing it the next day, don't. Where I never had that with tennis.
Yeah. Are your parents different parents now in this career than they were in your tennis career?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, my dad, I think he was so excited that I was like gifted. Like, because whenever we'd go anywhere, all the coaches would be like, we got it. Yeah. We got it. It's just, I was athletic.
Yeah.
And we got so excited, but I think I had a real fear of disappointing him. And I feel like so many professional players dealt with that. Like, that's not, and maybe they dealt with it better than me. I was definitely like, some people were like, fuck you, dad. Or like they'd tell their parents not to come to the matches. It took me till I was like 16 to be like, actually, I think I want to do this alone. And I remember like winning a tournament after telling him not to come, and we were just laughing. But I wanted it to be a thing with my dad. Like, I love my dad so much. It just, I couldn't handle like letting him down. And I felt like going on the court was like a chance to let him down, which is such a skewed perspective. And saying it out loud, you realize like, okay, that wasn't the best way to approach it. But I was a kid.
Yeah. I definitely felt that like I wanted to make my dad proud, but I was always so excited because my dad played soccer professionally in Bell. So he was like early on in my career. It's not even a career. It's like my hobby, right? He would like, whenever he was able to be there, I was like, I want to show him what I learned. I want to show him like what I can do, that I'm tough. Like, and you know, like my sister and I, we weren't never brought up as like being daddy's little princesses. We were like his tigers. Like that's how we were brought up.
Oh,
right?
I love that.
Yeah. Like it's yeah. So like hearing that, it's like, I also wanted to impress him, and it's, so important to. That's why I'm curious, like how your parents were. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the conversation like with them when you were like, I don't want to do this anymore. B, I want to be a stand-up comedian.
I remember, well, towards the end, like when I was 16, 17, 18 was when I actually told my dad, when I came back from tennis academy, I said, wait, this is like so sports movie, but we were on the court because he plays, like he's very into tennis. So he's like feeding me balls, and he's like, okay, I'm going to feed you this one ball. You're going to hit it, and you're going to tell me if you want to keep playing. And if you don't want to, and it was literally so dramatic. And he was like, look, if you don't want to keep playing, I love you so, so much. I don't give a crap.
That's amazing.
And I remember just hitting the ball and be like, why would I stop this? Like, this is what I do. And he stepped back a little, and he also was kind of like aware that like he had been hard on me, and we were able to have this very like mature conversation where he's like, sorry, I got caught up. I was just so excited about like what was happening.
And you know the stories, like if you follow tennis, like there's so many parents who are not able to do that, right? Like,
yeah, that's amazing.
He was able to, and it did take a weight off me and helped me in my college career. But I do think I didn't have the like robotic mentality that some of the top girls had, where it was just like business as usual. But it's hard when you physically feel like you're there, and then the match starts and you're like, honestly, the one thing I always had was laughter. Like I had one of the girls on my team, my job was literally like, she would play well when she's in a good mood, and then she'd get all, pissy. And my job was literally to make her laugh.
Like the team
that was one of the
jester.
questions
I was the team jester. But I'd get in trouble sometimes. I remember we'd be at like 6 a.m. weights and I'm giggling because I don't want to cry. And the coach would be like, if you laugh one more time, you have to do laps. And I'm like, well, then I'm doing laps because I'm giggling because I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know what else to do. So the one thing I could control was making people laugh. And I felt like tennis, I couldn't always control, even though I wanted to so bad. I wanted to so bad.
Were you able to joke about it after? Like, if you lost a match, were you able to go off court and be like, and make jokes about it? Or were you really hard on yourself then?
Oof.
Like, it was
not
It was
funny.
a dark time.
It was not funny because... And I'm delving into it a little, but I haven't been able to joke about it in my stand-up, which is, it sounds so dramatic, but like everyone's like, yeah, talk about your tennis. And I'm like, I haven't found the relatability and the funny in it.
Yeah.
I talk about like my experience in college and I'm working on a new bit about like dating a football player and because the tennis team didn't have respect and stuff like that. And then I was making fun of the football players. Like that's easy for me to make fun of other sports.
Yeah.
With tennis, I felt shame is a really like bad emotion. And I felt like embarrassed because I'd go off I remember once like my brother came to watch me play because he went to college with me and I didn't tell him about like my serve stuff. And he like brought all his friends and like we start the match and I know I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to hit a second serve. And I like underhand serve and I hear my brother in the crowd and he's like, come on, Hannah. Like you tell he's like confused. And like those moments you're like heartbroken. And
when you're intuitive, you feel that.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm feeling
so
everything.
yeah.
And I'm like, you almost manifest it to happen. And I hate to say, like, I was so good at manifesting that I could like completely mess up an entire, like I'll go on the court knowing like I'm not hitting a forehand today and I'm not hitting a second serve. But I'm going to try to win.
That never, like for me too, that never stopped, like never went away. Like when I, like in my slam finals, like the first ones, I, now knowing what I didn't know then,
Right.
I was 100% already lost my match before I even stepped out on court. Just because I knew like I can't beat her, I can't beat Justine, I can't beat Capriati. Yeah.
Did you have the same feeling when you were about
but
to win?
embarrassed. Like I hope, I can make it to a 6-4. Okay, that's at least not too embarrassing. Like at least it's not a 6-1 or a 6-0. Like those kind of thoughts.
Think like you didn't think like that in any of the matches coming up to that.
No, not at all.
Would you go out like, I'm going to win that one? I know I have this one in the bag.
I did not.
It was only the negative side.
Yeah, only.
It's so interesting.
early on.
But it's funny, you can't force the confidence
that
you had in the previous matches. You just go on and you're like, I belong here. And you can try to lie to yourself and be like, no, we're good. We got this.
Yeah, people can try to tell you, you got it. You got it. But if it doesn't, if you don't feel it, yes.
I think if I did it again, I would really work on visualization, which I thought was like woo-woo. But it's that visualizing, like, before you go on the court, you're like, I'm going to win this. I just don't know how yet. Where it's like knowing how to be like, I already see myself hitting the winners, saying yes, getting excited, having break points, like that mentality. But yeah, it's hard. And I always think like, what's the difference between someone who's great at something versus someone who like didn't accomplish their dream? And so much of it is like just believing. And it's like, it's an intrinsic like deep guttural thing. And for some reason I have it in comedy. Like for some reason I was like, oh, like what's the biggest thing I can do because I want to do it? I was like, Netflix? Okay, let's get Netflix.
Yeah.
But we're like tennis, I'd be like, do I belong here with these girls? I don't know if I should be here. She's like, for some reason.
Because like it's harder almost in the Netflix world for you as a woman to, in comedy to do that, right? Like it's
it
tennis,
makes
like
no
women's
sense.
tennis is very popular.
But
and
if you're
great.
like, second serve, 5-all, I'm like, no, thank you. But if you're like, can you try to make 9,000 people laugh after pure silence? I'm like, I'll figure it out.
I think you sound so
incredible.
intuitive. Like it just sounds like a really strong intuition.
Well, it's funny. So my therapist was basically like, do you think the anxiety you constantly had was because you like, this wasn't where you were supposed to be? And I was like, how dare you say that? How dare you say that?
Yeah.
I'm a tennis player. That's who I am. And I love this sport. Like I love it more than anything.
You like to watch it on TV as well, or?
I'm obsessed with watching it. So like I wake up, I turn on the tennis channel. The girls just got to rum. Yeah. I know it's going and I watch it like an ASMR. I like be editing videos. I love knowing like who's on the come up, what's going on in the 125Ks. Like I'm I love sports though. Like I love all sports. But tennis, after I quit, I couldn't watch it for a couple years because I was like watching my friends like live my dream.
Yeah.
And
that's tough.
Yeah.
it was definitely tough to be like, oh, I beat her in college and she's playing and she like believes in herself and like enjoys it. But I didn't quit because I was like, you can't do it. Even though deep down, that's what I felt. I quit because I wasn't having fun competing. So I'm like, life is too short to make a living out of something you don't like. But tell me if I'm wrong, like with sports, isn't so much like, yeah, you don't want to do this, but you're mentally sound. So it's like, yeah, you don't want to do sprints right now, but I'm going to.
Yeah, and it's also like early on, you have, responsibility. I have a trainer that I'm paying. I have a coach that I'm paying. Like, of course, like they're telling me, I trust these guys to know what's best for me, right?
Yeah.
Whether I wanted to do it or not. And 9 times out of 10, like I went home very like satisfied. Me like, okay, I'm glad I didn't stay and didn't
you
tell
stop
them. Like,
questioning it because you're like, this is what I do. Just do it. And that's what makes you successful.
And that's in parenting now too. It's like there's a lot of times where I'm exhausted or I don't want to get up early or I like, don't want to do the like just do it. Like, you don't even question like the negative anymore. You just do it. And
do you find after tennis this is a weird question, but I feel like you're like the only one that could understand. Do you feel like you're having to learn how to live a normal life?
I definitely had to.
What you're supposed to think about, how you're supposed to go about your day, like
asking
other
other
mothers
mothers
like an alien, right?
At the school, I'm like, oh, so wait, what? Like, oh yeah, okay, homework. So what? How do you teach them that? Like, I had no idea. Still, like moving from Belgium to the States, like a lot of times, I'm like,
so many changes.
Yeah, a lot of times I'm like asking the principal, I'm like, sorry, like what do I give them? Just like what is not allowed? What is allowed?
You're when you're so trained in one specific thing, like it so well, and it was just wake up, get better at tennis. That's my only job. So then when I stopped playing tennis, I was like, what do people do during the day?
It's like a lot of free time.
But that's to me one of the biggest things that I noticed living in the States now and seeing high school sports, right? Like I'm surrounded by basketball too, like seeing kids that know, oh yeah, I had hopes to go to Division I and don't make it. Now what do I choose? Do I keep pursuing like this basketball career that I thought I had? College, even worse, you have 4 more years. And then what? Like all of a sudden it just stops for you. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like at home in Europe, you a lot of kids stop because parents or can't afford it, financially realize like a year or two that you're not good enough or, you're too long in that.
America is very about dreams. Like they'll be like, you're gonna
but it's
make
very
it.
hard all of a sudden because your dream gets completely destroyed for a lot of kids. And I realized that like.
Well, college was hard because I didn't quit. I just had my last match.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Think
about that.
They were like, this is your last match. And then I played it. And I remember thinking like, okay, and now I can sign up for some tournaments, but my career's done.
And then it's all on your own. Like,
and it's all on your own. And I didn't have a sponsorship. Yeah. So it was basically like.
Not like now.
Yeah. Okay, so this is also weird. This talk about manifesting. And all I wanted was to be like a sponsored athlete.
Yeah, but still.
So fast forward, I'm a stand-up comedian, and Lululemon's like, your first entertainer we've signed as an ambassador. And I was like, I'm living my professional athlete dream. And I'm hitting with Kim Clijsters, and I'm like, so I'm back. But that's the thing is, what's beautiful is like, tennis is such a part of me. I'm still learning though, that like those things that made me not good at tennis, it's okay. So I was hitting with Francis Tiafoe's girlfriend again, and another girl who played for UCLA in California, and we started playing a point, and the first forehand I completely shank, and I'm immediately like, you literally crack under pressure all the time, and we continue playing whatever, and I get home that night and I'm like literally disappointed in myself that I couldn't hit the forehand in the moment. And like, I'm a 33-year-old woman and I had so much fun with these girls, but I'm at home in my hotel room beating myself up because I cracked under the pressure, which I knew I was going to do. Let's be honest.
You manifested
I manifested it. But I have to say, I think I have a very powerful brain. And to twist it, like, if I can manifest something so bad, you can also manifest greatness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it was true brain power,
But
whatever I was
hit
doing.
really good shots too, but it's that one that you missed at the start that you'll think about, right? And that you.
Yes. Well,
do you remember when we hit practice? I was going to say, but
Yeah,
when
I remember
hit,
every shot. No, I'm just kidding.
but the last point,
Oh, I hit a good shot.
great shot, like
Thank you.
amazing winner,
Thank
like
you.
on the run.
Thank you.
Like, backhand
Thank
down,
you.
like down the line, like ripped. I was like,
I
wait,
remember
what?
it.
Like her head's down, like unbelievable.
Thank you.
I was like, is there a camera
But
on
you-
this part anywhere? Like,
ESPN.
Yeah.
No, but it was,
shot of the day.
hitting with you was so fun because, like, you're playing with Kim Clijsters. You don't have to hold back. You're like nothing. You don't have to be soft with her, obviously. And then you're like, oh no, I have to like step it up. I'm playing with Kim Clijsters. But it was this like, it was so fun for me because I was just like, no one's judging me. I'm just. Kim enjoys my
we're having
comedy,
fun. Yeah,
and it was
it's
so
like-
fun. But
yeah.
I didn't realize like it wasn't fun for me a lot of the time, just because honestly, I did put I was very perfectionist on the court, which a lot of tennis
we
players
are, yeah.
are. It's what makes you good. But it's this little, and this is with everything, it's this little sense of, they say not caring, but I think it's more just belief that like, even if it does go imperfectly, I got this, which is how I feel on stage. Where with tennis, I felt like, oh no, I'm gonna get exposed. Everyone thinks I'm great and I'm gonna mess up. That was like the story in my head.
Do you travel by yourself a lot now to your shows?
Yeah. I mean, I
How
love
is that?
traveling.
Like, but by yourself, or like?
People literally be like, where's your team? My job is just to like go to a hotel, get a car, show up at the venue, go through the stage door, say hi to whoever's doing running the show, sit in the green room. They say you're going on in 30. I say great, drink my white Gatorade because it doesn't dye my tongue. And then, and then I go on stage, do my job, get an Uber, go back home, order some room service, get on a plane the next day. And I like that it's like, it's up to me. I don't have to worry about other people. And I think the traveling with tennis really prepared me for that. But also when I get off the stage, like, I'm not a winner or a loser. And like, I expressed myself through the art of comedy, and I hope I brought joy to people. Where tennis, it was very like judgment day to me. And I remember, losing matches and like, I'd be depressed for like, I couldn't forgive myself because also I wasn't just losing, I was underperforming and like sabotaging myself.
Yeah.
And it became just kind of like, that was my thing. And I hope that I hope a lot of people aren't experiencing it, but I hope that some people are listening and at least feel less alone in whatever kind of battles they're doing.
How was social media then? Was it already?
I was so lucky.
Yeah, me too.
There's no social media. Like my last year was like when Instagram started to be a thing, but no one was, it was still just like your friends.
I think in 2009, I was coming back after I had Jada and playing some like tournaments in the States, Cincinnati and stuff. And I think Twitter was maybe just started, or I just found out about it, but somebody was telling me like, yeah, we're just going to follow you. I'm going to give Brian, like my husband, this camera. Whenever you guys go to the supermarket or when you're in the hotel, I'm like, wait, I don't want to film myself like going in the super. How weird is that? What are people going to think of me, right? Like it's
early
such a,
too.
Yeah, I think so. Like, but I can't imagine like what the girls
I have
are going
strong
through.
opinions on it.
Yeah.
I think it's affected. It's a whole new element because you used to get off the court and the energy you see is your coach, your family, whoever's they're protecting you. Where now they go on their phone and that energy you can't control. I mean, you could try, but they're seeing all these, and then apparently the people who are betting are like horrible.
Yeah.
So they're
it's
getting
bad.
insane energy, and then I'm the kind of person, one person would say one thing to me and it would be in my head for a month. So imagine you're a famous tennis player. And so I think a lot of these girls, they really need to be off social media. And I hate to be like, you have to be a cave woman,
do it. Yeah.
but you have to. And that's what I do with my stand-up too. I always say the second a comment that I read affects my creativity, they win. The second a comment affects your confidence on the court, they win. You have to be diligent. And I think some of the players are good now where like someone else handles their accounts. But the attention that you get when you win and lose.
Right. When I was younger, it was, I either watched tennis matches live, right? If I was at the tournaments, I could watch my opponent, but it was newspapers.
Yeah.
So being in Belgium and Justine Henin and myself, like every day we were in the papers almost, it felt like. So, but I wanted to read about the other stories. So then all of a sudden I'm reading, like I remember like I was like 16 and like my acne was like, like blasted all over, the newspapers, and dermatologists were talking about like, oh, what does this mean? Is this hormonal? And is this from sweating? And is this, I was like, wait, what? Oh, and then all of a sudden you walk around and you think, oh, every's read this article. Everybody looked
like,
at this.
There's Pimple Kim.
Yeah, seriously. And I was like, yeah. And then you think, okay, just let me play tennis. Cause there I'm like doing my thing and I can forget about all that stuff. Because you're not prepared for everything else that comes with it, right? Like the attention and the,
and in Belgium too, like really small, like a lot smaller of an
there was so much
ecosystem.
attention, and the headlines and the titles of the articles were so much more dramatic than what
you were under a microscope. How were you
first boyfriend was all in the public eye, like it was everything.
How were you able to get that focus when you got on the court and quiet?
Now knowing, like, I have a daughter who plays basketball and is decent at it, and my dad did such a good job knowing, like, he passed away 16 years ago, but he did such a good job with protecting me when I got home. Like, I had so much media that we do as tennis players, press conferences every tournament, almost after every match, interviews. You're constantly on for the media. And then when I came home, my dad was like, nope, like, she's not doing anything. Like, I would get asked for every TV show, right? To go in soap series, to do all this stuff. And I was just, nope, like, she's not doing this. She's going to be a little girl that's going to grandma and that's going with her friends to the movies. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I think because he was a professional athlete too, he knew what he needed when he wanted to perform. And having someone protecting you is really important.
And who knew me, right? Like I still don't like I love that we can talk like this, but don't ask me to go on a stage and like be like, all right, everybody.
I was going to pull you up. I go, someone has 5 minutes, they're going to do. No, but your stage was the court, and that's where you wanted to be. And then you were like, I didn't sign up for the other stuff.
Yeah. And that became like very overwhelming a lot of times. It's like, I think to the outside world, I made it look like I was easy or comfortable with it. But it was like after a while, like it became very like, ugh, like, especially when I had Jada and then all that stuff too
And coaches don't train you for that aspect. They're just trying to see if you can make it. But once you make it, there's all these other things.
Most coaches have never been in that situation. They don't understand like what you're going through, right? Like mentally and with all those responsibilities. And that's why I love seeing Conchita Martinez coaching and like young girl like Andreeva and being successful, and seeing women who've done it before and who understand it. And that's, I love seeing them giving back. Like, because do you have a mentor in comedy or somebody you can like call? Or
I do have like Whitney Cummings and Nikki Glaser have been like really great to me. I remember Nikki Glaser, when I first started doing comedy, one day she like kind of took a liking to me, and she was like, do you want to just follow me around for spots tonight? And I was like, sure. And we just like, I just watched her do a bunch of gigs around the city, and I would ask her like stupid questions. I was like, do you ever forget a joke? Or like, do you ever just, how'd you think of that instead of why'd you say it differently last set? And just having her like see me and answer my questions, it is that like manifesting to be like, oh, I want to do that. And having those women in comedy has been really important but I also think we are in such a male dominated field, stand-up comedy, but because when we trained, like you were always the only girl, maybe one other girl, walking into a room of men competing is actually something I'm used to. So with stand-up comedy, so many women are so funny, but they show up to an open mic, it's a bunch of drunk dudes, and they go, maybe this isn't for me, and then they quit. And that's why the internet's been really great, because girls have been able to use it as like an open mic where it's safer and you feel more comfortable and you find your people with the algorithm. But I think training with tennis with so many men prepared me to have the thick skin to like walk into a room of men and be like, I'll try to figure this out. And it's not easy, but that is why there's not more female stand-ups, because it isn't like a space that's like necessarily welcoming. But I hope that girls see my Netflix special and are like, yeah, because I think women are so inherently funny.
So much funnier.
We're observant. We're like empathetic. Like we're great at gossip. Like that's what comedy is. I'm just complaining.
Yeah,
like you're just observing what's going on.
Yes. Like, and I always joke like the funniest people is like that hilarious mom. That you walk in and you're like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. A mom just ranting in the living room.
Kids.
Exactly. I'm like, give her a special.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start.
No, but I had so much fun hitting with you because you have such a great sense of humor. You do. And I think a lot of tennis players can be kind of like, muted and shy, which is totally fine. And I wish I was shy. I wish I could not blurt out every thought that comes in my brain. But it was great to see that, I feel like you have a full personality, which is why it's great you have a pod.
My husband and I, we always like tease each other. I'm like, who's the funniest? I'm like, Brian, I'm way funnier than you. Like, your jokes are always the same.
Like, they call them dad jokes for a reason. They're not good.
Yeah. And then the kids start getting like, I think dad's jokes are funnier. So my daughter's always on like Brian's side. And then the boys are like, no, I love mom's jokes. So it's still competitive.
Yes. Yeah. But it's funny. I say I hate competing in tennis, but I do love competing. It's just when things got too crazy and overwhelming. It's funny because I could ask you like 1,000 questions, but that's for another day. But also, do you have any advice in general for people who are high performing when they're doubting themselves and how to kind of push through?
Yeah, I think what I learned now that I'm almost 42 is I've always had a very open mind to wherever I was in the world. Like I would always try something new, from whether it was Reiki massage to like try to do. I remember being in my first yoga studio and like crying, laughing, and I had to leave the room. Like I was so not ready to be quiet. Like I was be like trying to hold it in for so long, and I was like, no, all right, I'm gonna leave the room. This is not for me. Yeah, like the breath. That's how it started. Like the breathing from the throat. And I'm like, this is. But I was open to it, and I went back another time, and then so it's. I taught myself tools to learn with that negative voice. Do you know what I mean? Like it's teaching the tools early on. Like don't just watch TV when you're in your hotel room or watch tennis, or like learn the other tool, like learn tools, do breath work, see what it's like, try different meditation techniques, try it. Like, and not everything will stick with you, but there will be a couple of things that you'll take with you on court. And then when my dad was sick, like I started doing Bikram yoga. Love that. Like it was like my way out to just get away from like the situation that we were in with him. But like for those 90 minutes, I was like just focus on like trying not to lose my balance and trying to like, because from the moment that I was thinking like, oh, when we get home, like we have to go to a doctor, like that kind of stuff. Once that starts creeping in your head, you lose your balance. You don't have the strength, everything. And so you use those kind of tools on the court, and it's just like what you learn in life you use on court.
Yes. I mean, I wanted to ask you that because it's like you're still human, but you were performing at like a non-human way, like the amount that you were able to win and the way you were handle pressure, and you're not a robot.
But it's a process, right? Like I lost so many matches because of pressure. But people don't see that. Like they see the wins, but it didn't happen overnight. Like I lost my first 4 Grand Slam finals before I was able to win my first one, right? Like it takes time. And then once you get it, you're like, oh, I know how to I know what to do with these emotions. Like I know what to do when my arm starts to feel heavy, or when my legs don't feel like they're like running the way they should, or my footwork is not quite right, or like it's what to do and how to get you back into, and that's I think is teach the tools early on. I think now these days like a lot kids are doing a lot more fitness and stretching and watching their food and getting massage like early on. Like I remember when I was younger, like the rubber bands were like the big invention that we were able to take these weights, that we could take into our tennis bag. And every kid on the tour was like ding, 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 every side, other side. Like, so that was like the thing. And then all of a sudden, you learn, you grow like with the sport but everything is in the spotlight, especially for me. It was like in Belgium in the spotlight. I learned to shut up because I didn't want to talk about like.
It took me a couple years. I'm getting better at it, but it's not what I'm.
I just learned to shut up. It's nobody's business.
That's literally what my husband, like when he first told me, he was like, "You have to shut up." That sounds so bad. Not like literally when like it came to like press and stuff, he was like, "You don't have to over explain and like defend." And he's like, "Just shut up."
It's hard when you're an overthinker, though. It's really hard.
What I've learned is it's kind of like people who want to not understand you won't.
Yeah.
And people who want to will. And you can't. Again, that's like that control thing. My husband, but like he brought peace to me because he was like, you don't have to keep talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's literally what I do is talk.
What do you mean?
But my husband in our relationship, he's the talker. But I like when I say like I had to like learn to keep my mouth shut in the media room. Like I wanted to be like, so I tried this. Like I started playing with this mouthpiece that I got from like a guy that I used to go see in Lake Como in Italy. And like he was a Belgian chiropractor and you used to go see him and he worked for the AC Milan soccer team. And but then I started like talking about like, how it's really helped my herniated disc in my neck. And I said it one time and then all of a sudden I had like the whole like chiropractic, whatever, osteopathy doctors like in Belgium writing in the papers about like, no, this is not correct. Like she's just getting brainwashed. And like, I'm like,
you're in a full press cycle.
Yeah, okay. Like here I thought I was, sharing something that helped me. Yes. And then, they're saying it's, bullshit or whatever. Like,
yes. It's because you're not just a random person talking and you forget. You're just like, I'm going to tell you my experience, but they're putting everything on a pedestal. Yeah.
Kim, for you with tennis and for you with comedy, like after you kind of do your big one, like you win a Grand Slam, you have your Netflix special really quickly. How does the pressure change from like, I feel like in tennis, the issue is you win a Grand Slam and people immediately go, okay, do it again. Like what happened? How does that pressure change to like keep that momentum going in comedy and in tennis?
Yeah, I felt for a little while, I was like, I did it. Like, like this could be it.
Let yourself feel like
as
that.
you should. Yeah, for a second. But then in the press conference, literally right after, everybody's like, so what's going to be the next one that you want to win?
Yeah.
Like, or now I hear like, oh, do you ever wish that you didn't win the US Opens, but you won the French Open and stuff? I'm like, guys, like,
what are we even talking about?
What does that mean? Like, it doesn't work that way, but that's how media works. And you have to give yourself like you have to teach yourself not to get caught up in their questions and to literally leave it in the media room. And well,
they're looking for storylines and your life isn't a storyline. You have your own stuff. Period. It's funny. I even saw like Madison Keys when she won. I was like, get out of here. You did it.
My eyes out. Like
I cried so hard too because she also like changed her racket and like changed her service motion.
Yeah, and then the relationship with her husband, like how he started coaching. I was like, that is a beautiful story.
And then I was like, and scene, get out of here. You're free. You did it. Yeah. But I realized like, no, she loves tennis and she wants to keep going and what she's doing. Because I think to get that good that you win a Grand Slam, you weren't just doing it to win a Grand Slam. Like you were able to, I mean, you wanted to, but like you have a deeper connection with the sport to get that good. And I do feel the same way, like with my special, I did say to people, sometimes people are like, oh, don't like when you accomplish your dream, you then realize like, oh no, like it's not as good and whatever. No, it was everything. Like my Netflix special, I put years and years and years into, and I felt like it was like a painting that I finished and I loved it. And I didn't even care. Like I wasn't even the fact that it was received well was amazing. I was proud of myself. Yeah. And it was this beautiful like, Hannah, I'm proud of you. Like that little girl, like high five.
And your dad was.
My dad. my parents, after I said I never even answered your question when I stopped playing tennis. they were honestly like a little relieved. I think they could see I was
This
a little
is stress too.
I was
guess,
tortured.
For parents too.
I was
right?
tortured. They were tortured.
Yeah.
My dad, he jokes. He was like, I had a twitch when you were playing. And he was so funny. He was superstitious. He would watch my matches and he'd sit in a certain way. And then we'd get off the match and he'd have a full sunburn on one part of his leg because he couldn't move his leg or I would lose. Like, we were crazy. But I remember them taking it really well, like almost too well. They were like, whatever you want to do,
for this.
find something that makes you happy.
We're gonna have more money every month.
Find something that makes you happy. But it is funny that I did get a full ride to Wisconsin, so there was that freedom of like no parents have to write my checks. You don't have to pay for my college, period. And then with people will say like, they'll come to my dad like, do you know your daughter, talks about everything on stage? And he's like, yeah, where do you think she got it from? Like, my dad is like the funniest person I know. And it's funny that he's now just able to he just says that he thinks I'm fearless and I deal with adversity well. And I think that's how I was with tennis. I was scared shitless all the time, but I always got on the court and I always dealt with adversity. So it's like, that's what I mean by like, as a tennis player, like, there's bigger reasons why you were so good. And it's so easy to put it into other things. It's just you haven't done it, so you don't like know. But like getting on stage, I was like, this is easier than a second serve. Like, this is fun for me. Where other comics were like, so how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Have there been like other I know Michael Costa plays,
yes.
right? Like, have there been other like celebrities or people that you like, oh, I didn't know you played tennis, or that you've like played tennis against? Or
yeah, well, Michael Costa, shout out Michael on The Daily Show. He also just has a book coming out. Yeah. He needs to come
Lucky
on.
Loser, right?
Lucky Loser,
yeah.
which I read. I was like,
I haven't started yet. It's on my bedside table.
Yes.
He's like, look, like right
yeah,
there.
He's so funny.
I really had it too. My husband was like, what are you doing with Michael Costa's book? I was like, it's very informative. It's very relatable, but he hit with me like when my career was just starting out. I remember being like, do you have any advice for a tennis player that wants to be a comedian? And I think he kind of was just like, it is kind of similar. You're out there alone doing your thing. And I saw him do it. And yeah, comedy, it takes like there's likability and charm and stuff that like tennis gets you no points. I remember my mom actually telling me like I have to be meaner on the tennis court because I was just like too nice.
Yeah,
and
but that's funny because like in your head you probably weren't funny. You weren't nice.
No, I was just
you were
playing.
like, oh, like what are you doing? Like you're probably mean to yourself.
Oh, I was a bitch to myself.
Me too.
But
Did you want to be liked? Like, were you thinking like, I want these people to like me?
No, it was just like, that was just my kind of energy, was never like to be mean to someone, but the girls would like bully you to win the match.
Yeah, right.
Like it's literally two girls intimidating each other. And I remember my mom being like, you have to be a bitch on the court. So I kind of was like a person that I didn't even like
want to be.
Yeah. And I didn't like also like having to like, it's funny, I didn't like having to like beat a girl or like she was in my way.
I support women.
And I was like, I support women.
I learned that I did not have to hate my opponent. Like my fight was against myself.
That's
you know
beautiful.
what I mean?
Same work.
Yeah,
Same
like I
that.
could not be happy. Like I was happy when I saw Justine at times like hold the trophy, knowing what that meant to her. I was disappointed for myself.
Yeah,
but
see.
Seeing her like hold that trophy, I was like, you're like great, like it's beautiful. Like
I think that's why you're a champion.
Yeah.
Like I think that if you're constantly like trying to just beat everything and everyone, like you're overwhelmed.
Yeah,
and
can't.
Your mindset was literally, I want to do as like we were playing a different sport. Like when I got on the court and you got on the court, had a completely different experience. And I think I kind of knew that I'd see some people play and I'm like, they seem calm and they seem enjoyable. And so like you were playing a different art when you went on because of your brain. And it's like, but it's beautiful. And you were able to sustain longer.
But I also like always trained with guys. So I didn't want to be that like girl that complained. I didn't want to be the girl that wasn't good enough. That was like not fast, strong enough to like compete with them. So I always wanted to like really like, how do you overachieve? Like push myself. And like, I wouldn't, even if I was dead, I would not complain. I'd be like, I can do another tie break. Sure.
Yes.
Like,
do you find now there's moments where you're like, oh, I have to listen to my voice, like find that voice that says like, I want to have boundaries with this, or I have to.
Yeah. It's easier now, especially when you have kids too. It's like, you have to create their boundaries, and then you like start, you start realizing, okay, where is enough, and just learning about people and the people skills that you build, right? In a sport where there's nothing but sharks almost, right? People that want something from you, and people that want to jump on the train that goes, and it's you learn to say, okay, no, like I don't want to go into business with you. I don't want to start, and
it's funny though, because with tennis, you're very like, I want to take advantage of every opportunity. I'm going to say yes to everything. I'm going to be at every practice, any workout I can do. And it's this training to be like, with comedy, definitely at first, I literally was doing like every single show anyone would ask me to do. I was there, because if I said no, I felt like guilty, like I wasn't working.
You're also disappointing people. Like, you should be grateful for this opportunity. And and I remember like on tour where, like let's say if like Serena canceled or a player, Serena, or I remember Dementieva at one point, like she for some reason couldn't do like the sponsor visit, and I saw them come up to me and be like, and in my head I'm thinking, no, I don't want to do it, like I have a game tomorrow, like, but I'm like, yes, okay, I'll do it. And I went, and another hour of like shaking hands, and I just did it. And there was a part of me that was like, okay, I was able to please these people and make sure. And it also made me, build relationship with people, and I met people. But at the time, it was probably wiser to say no, because I wasn't in the mood to do it. You just.
It's kind of like there's like the athlete side to you, and then there's the mother, the wife that has to. You can't be as sharkish with and hard on yourself with certain things. And I also realized I'm like. Yeah, with tennis too, like if I missed a day of tennis, I was like, I'm off.
Pressure. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to, like, this is going to have such a big influence
crazy. Well, tennis is so much about feel, but like you literally felt like if I missed a day of practice, which like I never did, because you can't. Where comedy, I'll have like a night that I'm so tired and I'm like, I don't want to go do random spots tonight. And now I'll be like, I'm not going to go. Because I don't feel like it, and I don't need to.
And that's better
work
for you.
On 8 minutes. I have my own methods now that help me work. That I feel like with tennis, it was more like fear driven, where comedy's less fear driven. And like you said, trying to enjoy other things too. Tennis, I was so like, that was all I had. I was jealous of the girls that was like, yeah, I'm a tennis player, but like I like other things. I'm like, okay, worldly. But now I'm trying to be like, yeah, I love comedy, but it's not all of me. But that's what we were like. Tennis.
Do you and your husband ever go like to like work vacation trips? Do you plan those? Or?
We have done we've done comedy in Aruba before together.
Yeah.
But it's funny, we actually fell in love during COVID. So neither of us saw each other do comedy. So we fell in love very as people. Sometimes with comics, in case anyone wants to date a comic, you can kind of fall in love with them on stage.
And
then it's not them. You're like, what's going on? But
I guess that can happen in the real life too. I'm just on stage.
True, you see a guy in a meeting, you're like, I like him. But also tennis players, you see a guy in the court and you're like, he is cute. And then you're talking to him and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But so I kind of like that I met this guy and I liked him for just who he was sitting on the couch with me. And the fact that he happened to be a hilarious stand-up comedian was like a plus, but it wasn't the reason that I wanted to be with him. So that was, I think, cool for us, especially because so much of my life, people liked me because I was a good tennis player or because I was this. And then dealing with, when my career, isn't doing well, that knowing that people will still be with me because they weren't with me because of... They liked a performance aspect of me.
I hated when I made people nervous, like if they met me. Like I thought that was like such a weird thing. No,
I was just like terrified. No. I'm like, I was terrified.
Like, or kids, or like we're like you have people who do like act differently. If some are like guys, or if I was out in the nightclub, I had like guys that were like playing shadow tennis towards me. I was like, dude, like really, you think that's funny? And they're like. come on, hit it.
My favorite is
Kim,
I can beat you.
Yeah, but you have all that stuff too, right? Like I remember just thinking like, oh, I don't want, you don't have to be nervous around me. Like you want to comfort them, and or you don't have to show off, or you don't have to,
well, you also have very warm energy, which is good. But then
very disarming.
Some people who have accomplished things or are famous have bad energy. So it's nice.
I think I asked you on the court during one of our breaks.
Yeah, during one of the
30-minute breaks. No, I asked you like because I was really like interested in like, where do you go from here? Right? Like what are your goals still that you want to achieve? Like you said, like sell out stadiums or like what?
That's such a good question. I feel like when you asked me that, I think I've done so well because I haven't been like chasing
focused
so
on,
hard.
yeah.
Like I more like wanted to be like, wouldn't it be funny if I got a Netflix special kind of thing, instead of being like, if I don't win Wimbledon, my life was worthless. That was my inner voice. And honestly, right now, I love just like creating, and I'm like you, where I like to like try different things, and I'm starting to get into acting, which is funny because like I'm doing my self tapes, I'm trying to memorize stuff, but I'll literally like sell, like a 2,000 seat theater and then go home and like try to be remembering a sentence to get rejected from an audition. It's a very like weird thing, but I like a new challenge, and I like a new experience, and stand up is cool because it was like my own work that got me now in front of other people to have the opportunity to try out for things. I also like, I just wrote a book. I like creating, and I always say I don't like to be too specific with my goal, because who knows what technology's out next year. Like everything in entertainment is so crazy. But yeah, I just want to keep getting better. And I also just, if I become a mom in the future, like learning how to be a successful person with my.
I was gonna say,
wait, I'm so annoying. How did I not bring that for you?
I ordered it as soon as it came out.
You're so cute. I was so mad that I didn't bring it when we played. You're so cute. Wait, have you read any of it yet?
I haven't started.
Okay, well, you have work to do.
I will.
And you have to study it with highlighters.
Okay.
Wait, this is so cute. So anyway, How to Giggle came out. And yeah, the book is about taking life less seriously. And I think that's helped me cope with the ups and downs of life.
I just got it in yesterday.
But
you
you're
say
so sweet.
that you like trying new things?
New things?
You like trying new things?
I do.
Yeah, or to push yourself. like to.
I also like, I recently took up volleyball, and I got like very into it because it was like, wait, it's a sport that I'm getting better at really quick, but like no one's mad when I mess up. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Hannah,
And
you
it was
mid
really
your chance
fun.
to plug your new show, Hannah and Paige trying new things.
Sorry. There's so much.
My question wasn't, do you like trying
I
new
know. I
things?
was like, okay.
I feel like I'm like a fan. Like
She's like,
Wait,
okay, that's a question.
the cheerleader. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got a little energy. Like, it's like exciting to see you. Yeah, with all the things that are happening.
It's so fun because I honestly think this is like kind of what I wanted with tennis, but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
it's
but
amazing.
I knew that it would happen in some capacity. I just didn't know where. But I just wanted to feel, like I got really good at something. Like I always just like chasing, like trying to challenge myself to be better, and it happened to be telling fart jokes. Look at me now. This shouldn't be on a pod, but I'm signing a book for Kim. I'll draw a tennis ball.
Thank you.
Wow.
Of course. Let me know which chapters you enjoy.
I will.
There are some chapters that are inappropriate for the kids, so just keep it away from the kids.
I know, okay.
But
That's
it is
all right.
a good coffee table book.
I'm European.
It's a great coffee table book.
We're very open.
Now I want to go to Belgium really bad.
Oh, you should.
I want to go.
I thought, you should do that.
Yeah.
You've never been to like the French Open or Wimbledon?
I went to the French. That was actually where we had our honeymoon. We did the French Open and then saw the France. Yeah, I'm a nerd, a tennis nerd.
Wow.
But it was so much fun.
And did your
That's
husband
amazing.
like tennis or
Loves tennis.
or because of you?
He
started
loved
loving
it before.
Okay.
Oh,
His
that's
parents
amazing.
always, grew up, loved you. Like that was the generation. Like you guys were so badass. And they just, oh my God. I mean,
I'm gonna play with Sophie soon.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get hidden.
She tried to get Andy Roddick to like have a hit, or didn't you ask him to have a hit with you?
Well, technically, I asked him. Oh, this is going to be offensive to you, especially. I asked
To me?
him to anyone listening to this podcast. I asked him if he thought I could. Is this what you're talking about? If he thought I could go pro in a year.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
He was like, "You're like, I can return your serve."
He said, "I'm going to hire a 7-year-old to play with you and beat you."
You get that a lot with
Yeah.
men though. Like when you start dating and they're like, "Oh, you played tennis? Like, give me a couple years and I'll beat you." And I'm like, I can't.
I should probably mention that I don't play
deal with
tennis.
this. I love that.
Key element of
Well,
that question.
You know, if he was very injured,
Right.
I beat him.
Right.
He probably thinks no way.
Yeah.
I've seen Andy. It was in Key Biscayne. We did like for the hotel that we were staying at, we did a tennis clinic with the guests, and there was this lady, like big glasses, like proper, like full on proper, like great tennis outfit. Like you could tell she didn't know how to hold the racket. So she's standing there. I'm standing behind Andy, and he hits the serve. And he hits the glasses off her face.
No.
I'm like, Andy, like really? Like, what were you thinking? Like,
Read
you
the
don't have to
room.
show off
A
your
winner's
serve.
a winner.
Yeah, like you don't. We know you have a great serve. Like you don't have to show it here. The lady's glasses, like her rackets flew out of her hands. Like it was
See, if
very
I would
funny.
have loved it. I'd be like, I got hit by Andy Roddick's serve.
She was all the show. I mean, I thought it was very funny, but I had to like kind of
my
stay
gosh.
polite and not.
No, but it's hard when you're competitive to know when to mute it down.
But it's also hard to not like to hit a soft serve for us. Like when I have to try and like push, like I make mistakes, and I'm like,
People don't talk about. There's so much like you're hitting with someone's friend or whatever, and like I'm like, do you want me to like go hard?
Yeah.
And then they get mad. Then it's like, okay, well I can miss in the net trying to hit a ball perfectly to your forehand. But yeah, the sport. There's so many different like moments with the sport that comes with it. So anyway, it's a sport for life. It's beautiful.
it is. Have you ever tried any like other racket sports, pickleball, padel, paddle?
So I did some padel, except I haven't like mastered the
Walls.
wall. So I literally try to hit everything before it hits the wall. I'm like jumping around. But I love volleying and I love a forehand slice. I love a little lob. So I actually love padel. And then, I'm out here with my ping pong. Whenever I'd be at a bar and people playing ping pong, I'm like, let's win some money.
Did you bring it up when you're playing ping pong, or you're like, I used to play tennis?
I'm like, I've never played before. I don't know what's going on.
And then you're extremely good.
But I will play for $100 if anyone wants to. But no, I love paddle sports. Anything where my feet are on the ground, I like it. I don't do the skiing.
The skiing.
I don't do the
Wait, your
the
feet
ice
are not
stuff.
on the skis.
I just want to stay. Those are only sports, and I'm not great at frisbee. I don't like frisbee. It's never really worked for me.
But volleyball is the new career, I hear.
Yes, I know.
We like to end our episodes with a little rapid fire. And we haven't named this segment yet.
No.
But we'll get there.
Yes.
Seeing as it's episode 2. But with the little rapid fire questions.
What do you like
Oh.
in
What's
my
on your rider?
I have the worst rider. It's white Gatorade.
Yes.
0. Because I was like, I can't
Because
just
of the
keep
color of the
chugging.
top.
Yeah, so the color. So not because I would play tennis and I would just have blue all over my body. Then I have turkey, like literally, like I know, like. Before you perform, like you don't want to eat, but then sometimes I'm nervous and I'm like, I just want protein. There was a stage where I was like, do we get hard-boiled eggs? And that was vetoed immediately. Sometimes I have popcorn, but it's stuck in my teeth. I don't drink on the road. I'm not a big drinker in general because like you have to treat it like a sport. So like I literally have nothing in my rider except white Gatorade. Like I'll get pissed off if there's not white Gatorade. I'll go full Mariah Carey. I'll be like, where's my white Gatorade? I like to chug a white Gatorade and go on. Yeah.
If you could pick a comedian as a doubles partner, who would it be?
Oh my God. Well, I know Chelsea. I can't believe I didn't say Chelsea Handler earlier. Chelsea Handler. Did I tell you?
That was your mentor?
I gave her a tennis lesson when I was 21 and I had just finished college and I was teaching tennis in the summer, and she showed up to one of these places I was at and I was like, Chelsea Handler, I love you. Like that's how I acted with Kim when she messaged me. And I asked, she was like friends with Sharapova at the time, I think. And I asked her some advice just in general about, being successful in life. And fast forward now, like we're friends and It's a crazy full circle moment. She does not remember the lesson. I was not memorable enough.
So you didn't teach her anything?
It was so funny. I was playing doubles with her, and I literally was like double faulting. I was so nervous. And I was like, I did a double fault. I was like, we gotta give them a point sometimes, you know.
That's what coaches do.
Yeah, coaches, you know, they paid me for that.
It's built their confidence.
So yeah, I'd love to play with Chelsea because I know she loves it. But there are so many random people that love tennis, and it's fun to see them come out of the woodwork when they find out.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys. This was
Thank you so much.
And I'm so excited to see where the podcast goes.
I know, me too.
Kim on her podcast game.
Oh boy. I have some Belgian chocolates for you.
Oh my gosh,
that are
you're
my
so
favorites.
sweet.
So I don't know. Share them with your dad or whoever.
Oh my! I go, Kim Clijsters gave me these. He'll be like, maybe my back end will get better if I eat them. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
What a delicatessen.
I know, it is.
Who needs to go to Belgium?
Well, you should.
Yeah, I should.
I'll tour you around.
We'll do a tour.
Yeah. This episode of Love All is made possible by our friends at Raya Eyewear, the only performance eyewear built specifically for racket sports. I've been wearing these sunglasses for about a year now, and they're perfect on and off the court. But the one thing that I love the most about them is that I can finally serve into the sun without squinting. Scan the QR code on screen or visit rayaeyewear.com/Kim and get your pair today. That was incredible. Thank you again to Hannah for joining us on our young podcast, but we had a blast. I left the studio kind of on a high. I felt like while I was driving home, I had so many more questions going through my mind, but there were definitely two things for me that stood out. And the first one was the moment where she talks about when she decided to kind of give up the sport of tennis, and where she was on court with her dad, and her dad, just asked her to hit one more ball and asked her if, like, what do you feel like? Do you want to keep going? Or are you done? And that's where she explained that she was done. And her dad also kind of saying, look, apologizing for, some of the kind of tougher situations that a parent has to deal with in a child's tennis career, I guess. And then also, her noticing that her parents were probably also a little bit relieved, because it is a very intense lifestyle, right? For parents, for the kids, but also for the parents. So that was something that really stuck with me. And then the second one is that I find it, amazing that she has, still to this day, like, she can joke about, her relationship with her husband on stage, but finds it hard to joke about, her tennis career and the losses and everything that comes with that.
Yeah. She was such a blast. I mean, like you said, I also kind of left the studio like on this high. She was so much fun. She brought such good energy, and that's really evident in everything that she does. So,
and don't you feel like now that I've met her, we hit together and stuff.
You're best friends, you can say.
I love that she finds enjoyment out of playing tennis again. Like, she's playing more and she's enjoying it, and she's got the Lululemon kind of deal as a former tennis player, but who's now a famous comedian, and who else, acting, everything, all the things that are coming onto her path. But excited that she does feel like she's achieved and accomplished. She's an accomplished athlete where she can combine the two worlds, which is, I think, what is also giving her a lot of drive and confidence. And she's awesome. She's a girl's girl, and
she is such a girl's girl. I feel so lucky that was our second episode of the show.
Yeah, Sophie, let's start brainstorming and think about who we want to get on our next episode. Or we can involve the listeners and see if they can give us some advice. So please share, some inspiring women that you would like to have on on our podcast that we can talk to, and share your comments. By the way, we loved all the comments and after the first show with Belinda. So keep them coming, and we'll see. We'll hopefully find a name out of the list that we get sent, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I felt like we were in such a nice little corner of the internet last time. Like, all the comments were so lovely, and I was like, wow, how did we find the one piece of the internet that's so nice and wonderful? So keep it up and follow us on socials. We're everywhere at Love All Podcast.
Don't jinx us now.
I know. Someone's going to take that challenge accepted.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to the Love Hole podcast, brought to you by Raya Eyewear, and see you next time.